to Australian Book Travels and to this week's special edition of the book recommendations. Special because it is Book Week. So exciting. If you ever needed an excuse to buy that book that you've always wanted, to visit a library or to join a library or to contribute to a street-free library, this is the week to do it. Blow away those inhibitions, everyone, and go and do all of those things. It is Book Week, and I'm not to be blamed. You didn't quote me on this, but even having a day off work or school and snuggling up with a really good book may or may not be a good idea. I'll leave that one up to you. Anyway, I hope you're all well and looking forward to today's recommendations. There are a few things to get through. First three things, I want to give you three fun facts about the Australian literary world because it is Book Week. The first fun fact is the very first novel that was published here in Australia was a crime novel in 1830, and it was called, it was titled Quintus Surbiton, and of all really funny facts, it was actually written by a convict by the name of Henry Savary. So I thought that was really interesting. But yes, our first published novel was a crime novel, and that was in 1830 in Hobart. So that's exciting or interesting. And the second fun fact, the top literary award here in Australia is the Miles Franklin Award. Now, Miles Franklin lived, she was born in around about the late 1800s, maybe 1887, something like that. And she died in 1954. She is an extremely famous Australian author. She wrote the novel My Brilliant Career. When she died, an award was set up on her bequest for Australian novels that had an element of Australia at its in any of its phases, but at its core. And that was first awarded in 1957, I think it was. So, and she knew two of my favourite Australian authors. She knew and was friends with May Gibbs, who is a famous Australian children's author and illustrator, and of course our famous poet, Henry Lawson. So that's fun fact 2 for you. And fun fact 3 is here in Australia, we have approximately 460 publishing houses. And the book industry really equates to around about 2 billion Australian dollars. It contributes to the economy every year. So there's the 3 fun facts for you. I hope they make sense and that I've given you something interesting for the week, for this book week. Okay, let's get into this. 3 books. I was only able to read 3 this week, and I did read these this week actually. So, oh no, the top one I didn't. I read this actually some time ago, but I reread it for you this week, and that is the wonderful Stacey Hall's The Familiars. Again, a beautiful cover. Now this is an old one of hers. Oh, everyone, sorry. They are fresh and clean. Now, this was published in 2019, I think. Yes, it was first published in England, in Great Britain in 2019. She is an English writer. She wrote Mrs. England, a novel that I recommended to you quite some time ago. Now, The Familiars is based in 1642, 1641, 1640... No, it's not 1642. That's incorrect. I'm giving you the wrong details. It's based or set in the Pendle Witch trial. So 1612. Yep, 1612. I'll check that, but I'm sure I'm right at 1612. Now this is fiction with historical facts involved. Stacey Halls is a wonderful writer. She reminds me a little bit, just a little bit, with her novels. There's a gothic element, and very much in, I don't know why, because the stories are not the same, obviously, but very much in the vein of Bronte's Jane Eyre. They're not the same stories, but it just has that air to it. And of course, yeah, this was set in 1612. So it's a story around the Pendle Witch trials. So there is that historical fact, but and a few of the characters involved did actually live, and they were on trial. But our protagonist is a fictional character. As always with Stacey Halls, I absolutely love her novels. I love her writing. She's an intelligent and she's a brilliant writer, actually, in this genre. And there's always a twist at the end. And there's that element of mystery throughout. Very atmospheric. So I recommend this one. If you haven't read it, definitely read it. Now this one is, let me see. What have we got? Hang on. We have historical notes here as well. And a letter from the author, acknowledgements. So the novel is 416 pages. I recommend it. It's absolutely fantastic. So that's our first one. This one I did read for the first time this week. I really enjoy this author. I really enjoy the series. This is the 12th in the series. I bought this book last year, and I did show you all. It was unveiled in the Christmas book unboxing from the book grocer. This is The Body in the Castle Well. It's a Bruno Chief of Police novel by Martin Walker. It's a hardcover, so it makes it even better, even more special. And first published in 2019 with, and I really like this because it has the, I'll show you in a minute. This is a 338. I'm really getting everything wrong today, and this is the problem with doing these videos in one take. So I do apologise, everyone. It's 328 pages, but I refuse to do these videos. I refuse to edit them. I want you to see mistakes and all so that we can have a chat. It's about having a chat, not about everything being perfect, because nobody is perfect, and I certainly am not. So 328 pages. This is a great series. It's set in France. Bruno is a French police officer, French detective. He is, the one thing I really do love about these is Bruno loves his food and he loves a good wine. Now, I think Martin Walker he's an American author, but he spends a lot of time in France. I think he spends half his time in France, or perhaps now he is permanently living in France. Either way, I believe he is perhaps on a committee of winemakers, or he makes his own wine. So he's very involved in the wine making or the wine appreciation society. So Bruno does love his food, and one thing that I really love about these books is that Martin Walker explains how Bruno cooks and what he cooks and how he cooks it. So you get a little bit of a cookbook in there as well. And I think from memory there is a Bruno cookbook that you can buy. I have seen that advertised. So cooking, food, wine is very much involved in these stories. There's some shenanigans, some love shenanigans that goes on as well. Bruno's not, he is, up to this stage, he is single. And so he's, he has his dalliances, that is for sure. But this is a really great novel. As I say, I really do like those, not just the mystery, but delving into the food and the wine and the atmosphere, the topography of France and the locations of the towns he works in and visits. The other thing I really like about this is it is not just about the mystery. He talks, in this particular one, he talks about art and the art world and the music world. So you get a little bit of everything. It's a very interesting novel to read. It's not just about the mystery. I really like it. And the other thing I like about this physical book is that it has the jagged edges. The pages are uneven, if you can see that. So I really like it. It makes for an older feel to the novel because it is hardcover and the edges are not even. It just makes for a really tactile read. It's lovely. Really good book. I recommend this series, and this particular one is brilliant. This is the 12th in the series, but there are, gosh, I think there are about 20 in the series all up. I could be wrong on that, but and I will check that for you, but I think there are about 20. I have only read up to this one, which is the 12th in the series. Recommended read. Now, it is Book Week here in Australia, so an Australian novel. This one has just been released not that long ago. Australian author, Australian story. It is Free by Meg Keneally. Now, Meg Keneally is the daughter of our famous author, Thomas Keneally. So this has just been released this year. This is also, no acknowledgements, no further reading. Where are we? I think it's 319 pages. It's a story about a young girl in England through various circumstances. I won't tell you the story. You know I don't like to do that. But through various circumstances, she finds herself on a convict ship out here in Australia, to Australia. And it's about her struggles and her rise in society. There are a couple of mysteries involved. There are a little bit of societal argy-bargy, a few problems that she encounters. But overall, it really is about her rise to within the colonial society. There is, and Meg does give you a warning at the front of the book, there is an extremely brutal and sad encounter, or a recount of how our Indigenous people were treated. Now, Meg doesn't treat this flippantly at all, but it's not hardcore either. It's just what happened, it's the truth, and it's blended into the story. So distressing, yes, but not too gruesome. It's just factual. So I really respect that, and it's important that people know even just an inkling of what went on. It wasn't all niceties and just a gentle takeover of Australia. So yes, it's this is really, I really enjoyed it. And the other thing that I really liked about this one particularly is I warmed to the protagonist. I liked her right from the beginning. She was one of us. She found herself in a circumstance that any one of us could, in those days, could have found ourselves in. So I really enjoyed this one. I recommend it. It's free by Meg Keneally. Definitely see if you can get yourself a copy. Australian author, Australian story. Absolutely brilliant. I enjoyed it. Okay. The last week, I told you all an exciting bit of information that I am now reading pre-release books, what we call advanced readers' copies, from Freeman Press in Western Australia. And I feel really awful because when I was given these, I was given 3 of these beautiful books. 3 I have, 3. The one that I bought and the other 2 I have read. This blue one I haven't read. It's A Fortunate Life by Facey. I have yet to read that, but I was given the other 3 to review and promote on the channel because I genuinely do appreciate that it is an Australian publication, Australian stories, Australian authors, Indigenous authors, and they're beautifully presented. They really are a lovely book. Now, as a result of that, Fremantle Press sent me a list and said, right, well, these are books that are to be released this year. Choose which ones would interest you or your viewers, and we'll send them out to you. So I chose 7 or 8 books, I think 7, that I thought would be of interest to you and would interest me, thinking that I would be given just a couple. I thought, well, I'll give them a choice and then Fremantle Press can choose which ones they want to send. I feel terrible because they sent all of them out to me. So I'm very lucky, and I really do appreciate Fremantle Press having that faith in me. But I just hope that they didn't think I was being greedy. That wasn't the case, and I feel awful. Nevertheless, they arrived on, when did the books arrive? Perhaps Friday or Thursday, I think. And I want to show them to you now. I have started one of them, but I won't discuss that just yet. I want to finish it before I discuss it. But I thought I'd show you these. I thought I would show you the books that were sent. Now, I have a lot of reading to do because some of them are to be out in the public domain, published and released in a couple of weeks. One of them has already been released. It's already been on the market for a couple of weeks. So I will try and get that read and out to you as soon as possible. Anyway, so this is due, these next 3 that I'm going to show you are due out on the 3rd of September. I'll show you that one a little later. This is Jasper Cliff by Josh Kemp. A Wreck of Seabirds by Kalia Olsen. They're all Australian stories, all Australian authors. And this is also due out on the 3rd of September. This is by David Wish Wilson Cutler. That's those 3. They are due out on the 3rd of September. So I have a lot of reading to do before, or a bit of reading to do before the 3rd of September because I have other books I'm reading as well, so it's not just those three. Now, these next two are due out on the 1st of October. This is Alan Carter's Prize Catch and Dave Warner's When It Rains. Now, all of these, in some form or other, have received awards, or the authors have received awards with other novels. And the last one, although certainly not least, is the Robert Edson's The Worsner's Tale that has already been released. So it's already out there for you to purchase. I haven't read it. I'm very interested in this one, actually, because it's set in 1369. So Australian authors, Australian publisher, we couldn't get much better than that. So I have a little bit of reading to do. I will get back to you before the release dates, apart from this one, sadly. Oh, there's one more. I will try and get them before the release dates so that you can decide whether you would like to purchase them. You can purchase them from your local independent bookshop, online, or directly from Freeman Press. Now, the other one, the last but definitely not least, this is due on the 29th of October, so I have a little bit of time left to read this, thank goodness. This is The Secret of the Stone by Catherine Lefroy. Now, this is a young adult book, perhaps, or older children's book. But you know, I advocate, the reason why I chose this from Fremantle Press is because I advocate everybody reading every book. Unless that you have very young children who, may not be able to read or shouldn't read for whatever reason, adult books, then I recommend that everybody reads everything. So I'm really looking forward to this one as well. But that's not due out until the 29th of October, so I have a little bit of time to read that. So that's those from Fremantle Press. And of course, I will always advocate the purchase of these books. I think they're absolutely stunning. They're good quality, and they are Australian authors, Australian publisher, and Australian stories. I'm hoping, just fingers crossed, that this is the Treasure series, and I am hoping that Fremantle Press publish more in the series, because I think they look beautiful. They really are a beautiful book. Okay, it is Book Week, so I just wanted to get on to some Australian authors or some favourite books for children or young adults or adults. As you know, I just said, I advocate everybody reading any book. So, Jacqueline Harvey, Australian author. This one I read at Christmas. This is the Alice Miranda books. There is a whole series of these. They are absolutely brilliant. Fun. They have mysteries involved, bit of shenanigans. Really good books. So that's Jacqueline Harvey. And Jacqueline does have a series in other titles. I can't remember them all now. Let me see if we have a reminder in here. It's not just the Alice Miranda books. It is, let me see if she has, the Kenzie and Max series, Clementine Rose series, and the Willa and Wolf series. So I recommend, she's a great author. Now, one of my favourite Australian children's authors, I did a review on this before Christmas of 2023. I do recommend you read these books, buy them and read them. This is Amelia Mallore's The Grandest Bookshop in the World, and the sequel, although it is a prequel, The Bookseller's Apprentice. These are historically factual. It is based on an Australian, Melbourne-based actually, bookshop that existed in the late 1800s and early 1900s by Mr. Coles, and he had around, I think he had 5 children and a wife who lived near the bookshop. it was actually deemed to be the biggest, grandest bookshop in the world at the time of its existence. In the bookshop, it had, I think it was 3 or 4 levels at that time in the 1800s in Melbourne, and it had its own circus and its own orchestra and its own zoo in the building. Miniature, but it still had these entertainment facilities in the bookshop. And Mr. Coles was renowned for suggesting to people that they're more than welcome to read. They didn't have to buy the books. They could just sit and read them. An incredible man, really, a very giving man, because he wanted everyone to be able to read and to have access to books. But this story is more magical. There is magic involved, although it does involve the family. So once again, historical fact, fictional story. Beautiful, beautiful books, well written. I recommend them. I had fun reading them. I will read them again because I think they're a lovely book. And I know that there is one coming, a new one coming out, and I'm just waiting for the advanced reader's copy for that. I'm hoping, I have been informed that I will be getting that. So I will be able to give you the information on the 3rd in the series. And I believe it may be the last one in the series, sadly. Definitely, if you are wanting a fun book yourself or for your children or grandchildren, this is definitely the author, as is Jacqueline Harvey. I really enjoy her. One which was a childhood specialty for me, and it is 70 years since this was released, is American author E.B. White's Charlotte's Web. I'm sure most of you will have read this. If you haven't, you should. It is about love and friendship and loyalty and sometimes the harsh realities of farm life and farming. But it's a beautiful story, and if you haven't read it, I recommend you read it. It's also about the fact that animals are sentient beings. That's quite clear in this novel. So there are some children's books I absolutely recommend. There are so many out there, and there are so many Australian books, but we will get onto those over time. They were just 3 or 4 books that I thought you would be interested in. They are beautiful books. Okay, everyone, I think that's it for today. Do not forget we have our book recommendation, our book competition beginning on the 1st of October, and entries not to be submitted until after the 14th of October. Details will be, all the gritty nitty details will be in future videos between now and October, so you won't miss out. Do spread the word, because there will be 2 winners, one in the Northern Hemisphere and one in the Southern Hemisphere, and we are supporting 2 bookshops, one in the Northern Hemisphere, one in the Southern Hemisphere, 2 independent bookshops to send a book in your genre out to you if you are the winner. That's that. Don't forget, we also have our travel videos on a Saturday that are, I think there are, already we have around about 113 videos up on the channel. Now those 113, some of those are book recommendations and some of them are travel videos. And one of the last things I'd like to thank you and tell you about, we have reached 1,000 subscribers. That is all due to you. Thank you so much. It is the next level in YouTube that is required. But look, if you haven't subscribed, please do. It is free and it will help the channel. Eventually, it will help us bring more content to you, whether that be the ability to travel further away or to bring you more books and book recommendations and indeed other content. We are also, before I forget, I'm hoping to have a sneaky midweeker up for you this week. Fingers crossed if I can get that done. Otherwise, it will be next week. So you will get the sneaky midweeker for August, but I'm hoping it will be this week. So yes, going back, thank you so much everyone for sharing, liking, subscribing and commenting. We really do appreciate your comments. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It is free. And if you haven't liked any of the videos, if you have liked them, but you haven't physically pressed the button to like them and given us the thumbs up, please do. It's all free and it just goes to help the channel. It also shows YouTube something to do with the algorithms. It helps us to be exposed more out into the world. And look, we really do want to expose Australia, the beauty, the quirkiness, the history, both Indigenous and European. We want to show you the topography, the flora, the fauna, and the fact that there are so many towns and so many people in Australia who love books and who love reading, as indicated by the fact that it's a $2 billion industry in Australia, where we have I think we only have 20 or 21 million people in Australia, maybe a little bit more than that. But compared to the rest of the world, that's quite an achievement, I think. But I want to get it out there more. And there are ideas for doing that also, but I can explain that in another video down the track when it's likely to come to fruition a little bit more. But we do want to get the word out there. Australian authors, Australia, and not just Australian authors. I mean, I read all sorts of books from all over the world, but I do want to promote Australian authors, Australian publishing houses, and Australia. It's a wonderful country. It's exciting, it's interesting, and it has some amazing natural beauty. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all so much for subscribing. We are at that 1,000 mark. It's so exciting. It really is wonderful. You all make it worthwhile because it is a full-time job for me with the researching and the videoing and then the editing and researching ideas, not just researching locations or books. There are ideas that are going around in my mind all the time, how to make the content more interesting for you. So yes, all of you make it worth it. So thank you very much. Okay, it is Monday morning. I'm hoping to have this up on the channel this afternoon. I have just noticed it was a beautiful morning, blue sky and sunny. It is now so cloudy. There is a pea soup fog out there. What's with that? I don't understand, but anyway, I guess that's because of the change of seasons. We're at the end of our winter and we will be sliding into our spring. I noticed over the weekend there is so much blossom now on the fruit trees, which is exciting too. I love it. And the bees have a lovely time. Okay, enough chit chat. I shall see you next video, whichever one that may be. Happy reading. Safe travels, good eating. Do a Detective or Inspector Bruno and eat well and enjoy it. Relish in the wonderful aromas of cooking and drinking, whatever that is. Okay, take care everyone. Bye for now.